from Allah's order and His design, they are pure people. And kalama khabisa, that uncouth tree, it has no roots. It is carried away by winds from here to there and there to there. It's sheer waste. So this is the meaning of turning out of Jannah. This was not meant for Adam, this order, because we have a very clear sign in the Holy Quran which makes us understand that God had forgiven Adam. So after forgiveness, how could he be punished? See, that is one thing which people forget. Adam was never turned out of Jannah. That is why instead of addressing them two, as you two leave Jannah, the address was, all of you leave Jannah. Because it was those who had believed in Adam, and there were numerous people who had also erred. And they had not sought forgiveness of Allah as Adam had. So we only have the mention of these two being forgiven, Adam and Eve, but not the rest. So sometimes the punishment of a people is also shared by their leaders, however innocent they be. Like you know the example of Moses. It was not he who defied God's order, His will. It was his people. So God said, all right, you go and roam, without direction in the wilderness for another 40 years. But he also suffered. So we know sometimes Hadrat Muhammad Rasulullah also suffered along with his people while he was innocent. So this is my scenario of what happened, and this scenario is based on the clear-cut instructions of the Holy Quran itself. So who was turned out was not Adam, it was his followers. And he had to go along with them, like the followers of Moses. So Jannah is the Sharia and the four walls of Allah's instructions. You step out, and you step out into the wilderness. Right? So I've answered that other question along with it. That is why I expanded it. Yes.
I have another spiritual question here.
Yes, please.
And it's from Muhammad Arif of Fulda in Germany.
Fulda, yes, I know.
And he says that the mirage of the Holy Prophet was, he says, what are the arguments proving that the mirage of the Holy Prophet was a spiritual journey and not a physical one?
That's right. The most central to the issue is the point which has to be first determined, whether God is spiritual or corporal. Is he material or spiritual? Is he seated in one direction or is he everywhere? أَنَا وَتَوَلُّوا فَثَمَّ وَجْهُ اللَّهِ هُوَ اللَّهُ فِي السَّمَاوَاتِ وَالْأَرْضِ. Words to that effect have been expressed so clearly in different verses of the Holy Quran that you cannot conceive of a space anywhere in the universe and beyond which is empty of God. So when you are required to move to Him, which way will you go? A corporal body has a point in space which can be approached from different directions. But if there is no corporal body, suppose somebody tells you to go towards the echo of the Big Bang, with which the entire universe is filled, which way will you go? There and then you will be rooted. You have no way to go. So some of the Muslims believe Hazrat Muhammad Rasul Kareem sallallahu alaihi wasallam to have corporal body. The answer to them lies in this, that a corporal body cannot move in any specific direction towards something, some being which is only spiritual. And for those who believe that Hazrat Muhammad Rasulullah Kareem Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam was spiritual, they have already resolved the issue. It is a spiritual journey by a spirit. How can spirit, which has no body, make a bodily journey? So there is no issue involved, in fact. Secondly, this scenario is very crude indeed, but the Holy Quran has very specific expressions which give light to this concept. When Hazrat Rasul Kareem Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam is known to have seen God, there is one verse which says, "Ma kadhab al-fuadu ma ra'a." His heart did not tell lie regarding what the heart had seen. So the hearts do not see corporal things, and it has to be a spiritual image the heart must have seen. And there are other indications, of course, but I'll come now to the narration of the journey as we find in different authentic books of tradition. There are very positive indications that the journey was not physical, it was spiritual. For instance, you see mentioned that Muhammad Rasulullah Kareem Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam stopped at the point where there was a lot tree. Now, can a Muslim with any sense believe that the parting line between humanity and God is marked by a lot tree? That lone lot tree hanging in the space, dangling somewhere, and that makhluk, the lot tree, has to be a creation that has always been closest to God than the rest of the creation. If the closeness is measured in terms of how many miles away, or how many miles closer, then that lot tree has always been the closest to God. So where that lot tree reached, if Rasulullah Sallam reached, what was the difference? It's very nonsensical to believe that it was a bodily journey, not the spiritual. So what does lot tree mean? It can only mean anything if it is taken to be just a symbol, because it was a custom then, as it is now, even in the Punjab elsewhere, sometimes to draw the demarcation line and to give the message that this is our boundary. On the boundary, many villagers plant this tree because it is thorny, it is bushy, and it covers a lot of space and works as a symbol that this is my boundary, stop here. Beyond this you are not permitted to come. So I believe this was the symbol of that.
Similarly then to how in this country the farmers used to have the hedgerow.
Hedgerow, that's right, exactly. It's also thorny, isn't it?
Yes.
It's quite thorny. So anyway, now turning to other messages which are potent with wisdom only if you take them to be spiritual rather than literal. During that journey, Hazrat Muhammad Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam was offered 3 glasses, 3 cupfuls by a very old hag. I mentioned her to be a hag. Why? Because it will come later on. Why? I'm intentionally not using a word of respect. One of the cups was full of milk, the other was full of wine, the third was full of water. And Hazrat Rasul Kareem Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam accepted the cup of milk and rejected the other 2. And then Jibreel, the archangel, said, "You did right. It was a wise act." Because this old hag was the world. Now, can you imagine the entire world having got turned into an old woman? And where were the rest of the Sahabas and all the rest of the people in the world? It's inconceivable. It has to have a spiritual symbol. And the symbol is so understandable, so clearly understandable, if one applies one's mind